Welcome back to AT Audio. Today I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to be working on this weekend. So as you can see, I've got a case, and if you know what this is the case off the Pioneer SX-1250, probably the best unit Pioneer ever made, in my humble opinion. And so you can tell that pretty quickly because it's got this weird notch here. And so that's going to add some complexity into replicating this case. And so let's talk about what we have to do to replicate a case. So these cases, they actually did a really good job with these cases, and there's no small detail that you can't overlook here. And so when we look at this case, there's a couple things we got to do. So we've got this lip here. We've got to make sure we replicate that because that's what slides underneath the faceplate and kind of gives us a seamless approach. We've obviously got to replicate this notch. And so how I'm going to do that, I haven't quite decided yet, because if you look closely, that's a sharp 90-degree arch. There's not much of a curve to it. So to replicate that, you have a couple of different options. And one of the options I'm thinking about doing is just cutting this to where this piece of wood is obviously all there, so the notch hasn't been cut out yet, and then programming my CNC and coming and cutting that. The problem with that is that the CNC bit itself is round. And so as it cuts, it spins, so it's going to leave, so it can give a straight edge. But when it gets to a corner, it's got that round bit in there. And so as it changes direction, you get a little bit of rounding off there. So it wouldn't be an exact straight 90-degree cut. And if you use a smaller bit, you can probably get that to where it's not very noticeable. And so that might be what I do. This is a 1/8 bit, a 1/8 bit, and so I actually have some smaller bits, so maybe, I'm not entirely sure. My other option would be try to make a straight cut on the table saw and notch this out, but then you could risk damaging or cutting too far and then destroying the whole piece. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to replicate that. So then as we flip it over, you'll notice it's got these small pieces glued in here that create an overhang or a lip here, and that's for that metal grate to sit on, so it doesn't go too low on the front here, and allows it to sit flush with the rest of the case. And then you have your typical 45s here, so then you get that waterfall effect. Now, Pioneer didn't do that really well. They used whatever pieces of wood it looks like they had, so you don't get the grain pattern going all the way around, which I think is really a missed opportunity, because if you do that, I think it adds to the case itself. And so it really adds a lot of characteristics to the case, I think, that makes it look good. So my case is gonna have the waterfall effect, or at least Lord willing it is. So that's kind of what I'm gonna be working on this weekend. And so I hope you guys had a good Memorial weekend. And thank you to the vets out there that served, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video, guys.